recording, and boom! All right, we're recording. So today we're going to do the revenue management, but we discovered this really cool skill that you can have inside Whereby, which is our video sharing platform. And you just go to share here, and there is an option for Trello boards in the share box. And instead of sharing your screen, you can share the board directly. From that, I believe everybody can use the board. Lilis can use the board, and I can use the board, and it just sort of works inside the video chat room like magic. All right, Lilis, who's chairing today?
I think you, sir, because you missed twice. So
Yeah, it's probably my turn now. So I apologize, and this is the point where I need to catch up with what has been happening inside the chapter. Last week we had a lot of professional networking that was a backlog from the previous week. The previous week we didn't get any, so currently with professional networking, it doesn't really work yet if I'm not there to moderate the conversation. So I'm doing it to help other chapters, but if I'm not there, then currently, because they're using my profile to find these people, if I don't show up for the meeting that apparently I arranged, then it wouldn't work. So I kind of need to do that. That being said, okay, let's take a look and see what the progress has been. Let's go to Lilis first. Okay, so Lilis, tell us about your new market building workflow.
Okay. So this one, actually, I need to ask you about the last lead that contact from Facebook. Sorry, do you
Very
have?
good. Thank you for that update. Let's get an update from the last lead. That was Sabah, Villas, and Ubud, right?
Yeah, Sabah Villas and Ubud.
All right, babe, what's the update on Sabah Villas and Ubud? It's been delegated to Wayana.
I'm sending the proposal. They're just placing they signing everything.
Okay, did you send the proposal? The proposal has been sent.
Yeah, English like the old one, like in the country.
Okay, and what's the follow-up after the proposal's been sent?
And I will ask what they want.
Okay, all right. Well, we need to also have a follow-up on that, right? So that we
I
know
will
what.
send you the card, yeah.
Okay.
You can,
What I'll do.
every time you want to see the update, you see.
Oh yeah, we can attach your card onto this card, right? Onto Lilis's card. That way, Lilis will know what the updates are. Can we do that? Okay.
Oh, actually, why I ask question about that because Julius asked me about is the English contract work in Indonesia? I mean,
Okay, babe. Does the English contract work in Indonesia, or do they need an Indonesian contract? Then, do we have an Indonesian contract?
yeah, because I see the Indonesian contract, so I asked about the English. So
Okay, so we should send the Indonesian contract then. Yeah, that's the first piece of feedback. Okay.
Who did it? Lilis?
No, you'll just. This has been delegated to you, so you'll just follow up with it, and Lilis can monitor the activity on your card. Okay. So what? Hey, babe, can I bring you here so that you can see what's going on? Okay. So the owner is building, and the owner has the owner has actually is building now. This is in the design development phase, so it's still pretty early. And then Wayana will send Wayana has sent English agreement
Not agreement, proposal like.
proposal. Okay, all right.
But I can send the draft of the.
Can send a draft
But that one haven't sent, but I can.
of Bahasa Indonesia
In English.
MOU. Yeah.
In
Okay.
English because the partner
English.
is
MOU.
controlling.
Okay.
if the proposal means contract,
No.
no.
Just like introduce what we are doing.
Oh, so I just got the contract, by the way. Well, maybe can you please attach also the proposals?
Yeah, I will attach it in the paper in the MB workflow.
Okay.
And then we coordinate from that so that not ping pong. Wherever that you get it and you update it there, wherever that I got it and update it there. So
Okay. Let's not ping pong, and let's do this correctly. So where can we figure out what?
I will send you the
Okay.
email.
Okay, so then we will attach that as part of our first experiment, and we can see what the process is like. Okay,
So,
this is
so the English MOU is work in Indonesia, right? So that's the conclusion of my
the
question.
English MOU does not work in Indonesia, right, babe? No.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
Lilis, to give you like the facts, right, about how MOUs work. MOUs are generally what we would consider gentleman agreements. So, like when we sign an MOU with a university partnership, with UGM or UI or whoever, these are basically low. Uh, they're not real contracts, meaning that they are not enforceable by law. If somebody breaks an MOU, then well, that's too bad, right? That's just kind of like, okay, it's not legally binding. So
Mm,
the idea behind an MOU is to essentially set the terms and conditions for how this work will proceed and to keep each side accountable and honest so that we can always go back to this document and say, this is where we started our expectations. So in terms of an MOU is mostly for setting expectations. It is probably like the same. You should think of it as like when you sign up for a Gmail account, right? When you sign up for a Gmail account, I don't know what you could do to actually void your Gmail account, but Google is not going to sue you if you spam people, right? Um, Google will just drop you as a user if you spam people or do something like that. So there's two interpretations of this. One interpretation is we make the MOU look as official as possible, but it actually isn't legally enforceable. So we write in Bahasa, we do the stamp, we do all this whatever around it so that people
mm,
feel like it's official, but the actual legal part is that it's not enforceable. Why is it not enforceable? Because if you want it to be enforced, you need to go to a notary and get the notary to sign it. And we generally do not do that for two reasons. One, actually, for really just one reason, it takes too much time. It takes way too much time to get the owner here, to get them to the notary,
mm,
to do the whole thing. And then later on, because also the second reason is that the contracts will need to evolve fairly quickly. Like this situation here, right? So if we promise, let's say, like right now, let's say we had a projection and right now the projections are not really valid. Well, if we sign the legal document, we might have to spend a lot of time
mm,
fighting the owners to say, well, this circumstance is different. And they might say, no, this circumstance is not different. You owe me money. And that could be complex. So
I
generally
see.
speaking, for most internet companies, no startup companies, it's just a gentleman understanding. It's like, hey, this is what we're going to do, and you can hold us accountable to that, and and vice versa. So where does things really come in? The real power of what we do is essentially mutually assured destruction, and I would say, what was it? What would it be called? Denial of benefit. So what does that mean? That means that whatever happens, there should be only one way to succeed: a win-win situation. You win, and the partner wins, right? And if you lose, it should be a lose-lose situation. That if you lose, the partner loses, you lose. There should never be a situation where Bukit Vista wins and the partner loses, or the partner wins and Bukit Vista loses. Those are outside of the normal boundaries in terms of contract writing. So what do we actually hold? What we actually hold is the listing. So if we have the listing, we have an exclusive agreement, then they whatever they do builds up on that listing and it helps our reputation. If they lose that, then they lose the listing, we lose the income, and it's a lose-lose situation. So whenever we make these contracts, just make sure that in principle there should never be a situation where a partner can win and Book Vista would lose, or the opposite, where Book Vista wins and a partner can lose. Other than that, the actual legality of the contract is simply like when you click OK on signing up for a Dropbox account. It's essentially like that. And we've made it as simple as that now, where you can just DocuSign and you can just go OK, and give me my service, right? I need Google Drive now. So that's essentially the idea. Okay, so but this is good. I think this is a good start, and I think we have. Well, let's add Wyana to this card. I think, and Wyana BV 19 at Pictures. Hey, where did you go? Huh? And okay, there she goes. Let's send her an invitation. And what I like to do is for this is an MVP of the new market building workflow. So I'll add her in, which means that I don't know. Sometimes she'll check her thing, sometimes she won't. She's right there, so she can listen to me say that. I'm being transparent, and I can tag her. I say, "At Wayana, please add your Trello card here so that Lilis can follow the updates to the." Lilis, what's the name of the person you said? There was a name to that person?
Julius.
Jesus?
Julius.
Julius, yeah? Like that?
Sorry?
Like so? Like the way that I've written?
Sorry, sir. What?
Did I spell his name correctly? Julius?
Oh. Where is it? G G U and then L I U S.
Okay. Can you see my card? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Did I spell it right? Vilasaba Julius?
Oh, I just see the card that well, yeah.
Okay. Oh no!
No, with J.
With J? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
Okay, Julius. Okay, all right. I think it's done. For some reason, my screen just sabotaged here, so I need to re up here. Give me a second. Okay. The other thing I wanted to discuss also, and this is where I was hoping to get Bayou inside as well, Lilis, was to discuss about how the new market building flow will work like from the app perspective. Like what will the owner do? Will they download an app? Will they install the app? And such. But okay, this is a good MVP right now to see how Julius will onboard. Okay, next topic. Very good. All right, this is the big discussion. I think we can just kind of immediately go into discussion today because it's just you and me, so we don't need to.
But
Right?
my other question, sir, regarding
Yes,
the
yes, ma'am.
contract. I read in the contract that previously the owner can only can only do direct booking by themselves for 60 days, I think.
Yes, they have.
If that will be different for today's condition.
I think that's still okay. Well, actually, we can restrict it. We can push it back to 30 days. Good discussion. So, at first, we were being pushed by the owners to go from 30 to 60 because they thought they would use it more. But given the current climate of how things are, we could probably compromise it again. We could probably move. So this can be a discussion with Wayana, and we can move the maximum owner use period to, and we can change it from 60 to maybe 45 days. I think that could be done actually at this point. We ideally should give the owner 0, but of course they won't ever agree to 0 because they want to use it themselves. They blah blah blah. So we can reduce it from 60 to 45, and I think that would make it more palpable. That was a negotiation problem that we used to have because certain owners would say no to the deal unless they got their own time for the property. But now it's a little bit more clear. Okay, babe, do you think that's a good idea?
Good idea.
We're going to move the owner use period from 60 days to 45 days.
Yeah.
And for new contracts, we can even make it like, 45 days is good. Let's just go with 45 days from now, okay? Okay, cool. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Any other updates on that one? The new market building workflow?
Only this one.
Okay, fantastic. Very good. All right, Lilis, let's go to your next topic, which is about the community town hall. This should be lots of fun. All right, tell us what's going on.
From this one, actually, at first I also think to invite outsider, but lately I think that the content is basically our business. What is that? what we are doing in our business, what is our strategy, right? Maybe my first question is, if we invite an outsiders and they might be from hospitality also,
Mhm.
what do you think? Is that okay with if we share, like, because the topics is like top three owners problem, and then we would like to share our solution for the property owner,
Okay,
right?
I think a few things is like this, Lilis. When you're leading, you're constantly under the threat of assassination, I guess, right? You could say it that way. Let's say you want to be president. So if you want to be president, then you're going to need to get in front of the people and tell the people who you're leading, both your enemies and your supporters, what your vision is. So I think in this particular case, it's more like that. It's more like if we want to lead this community and all global communities, then we need to know that we need to think about the message first. All right. So this is essentially built backwards. So we need to think about what message we want to share. And then we need to think about the timing, which is what we're discussing right here. We need to think about the problems that we're trying to solve. And then the last thing we think about in this particular case is the audience, right? So in this particular case, who is the best audience to listen to this? Now, broadly speaking, most of what we are talking about is generally not confidential. In fact, we try to share as much as possible to influence people to believe in us. So our marketing is transparency in a way. Our marketing is a way of telling everybody this is what we think is going to go on. Why is this powerful? Because I think what it does is we're not competing with everybody. What we're competing with is we're only competing with people who, let's say, have different philosophies than us, right? So if you're really saying okay, if we want to get the owners that are currently with a different management company to think about Bukit Vista, um, or if we want different management companies to sort of come into our direction, then we need to be able to talk about what we need to focus on, right? That I think is really, really key. This idea of focus. Are we going to focus on short term rentals? Are we going to focus on long range bookings? What are we going to focus on? So, yes, there is a possibility that other people will apply these tactics as well. And there is a possibility of whatever happening. But I would rather that people hear it directly from us than hear it through dilution. You know, like they heard something that they heard from another person and they got the wrong
Mm,
impression of us, or whatever it might be. So in this particular regard, this particular topic is not a topic specifically about a single property. It's not about like essentially what is anything that a leader would tell everybody what's going on, right? Like this is a this is actually a great opportunity for leadership. It's an opportunity where you have you kind of like have that scenario where there's people they crash land on a deserted island and nobody knows what to do at this point. Everybody's new. So what you kind of want is you want everybody to go your direction, right? You want your competitors to go your direction. You want your haters to go your direction. You want your followers to go your direction. Why? Because this direction, even if they start, even if they copy it, it's a good thing. Even if they copy it, it's a really good thing because now they have steered their communities into your path, which can only mean over time, if you are successful in this path, then other people will just go, why am I following this person? I should just follow the person who's at the very front instead of following this person who's learning from the person in the very front. And that is our long term goal. We want to be the person who's at the very front, leading the entire, let's say, Bali alternative accommodation community for competitors and for us. And I think over time, the things that we talk about, like this idea of revenue management, no other company who's doing short term rentals even thinks about that at this point. This idea of community management, no other company is thinking about that at that time. This idea of building an online community through webinars, no other company is doing that at this time. So this is okay. Let's say they copy us. Let's say they do whatever. They learn our systems. Great. Are we going to be still here a year from today? No. We will have evolved different systems and better systems, and we will be far ahead. So then they have a choice. They can either try to follow with us, or their community will start just going, why don't I just become part of the Bukit Vista community instead of following this person who's like not even following us very well. So think of it as a platform war, right? It's like iOS versus Android. And so whenever you are trying to get people on a platform, like Bukit Vista will be eventually, it's mostly about getting people, everybody onto that platform and then leading them through the platform. So in this particular dimension, Lilis, I think it's actually very good that you can target outside people. It does not distract the focus. The focus is still the same. It will mean we're addressing our community, not the people who we don't know. Um, it is going to be a learning experience for all of us. You can see how many people from the community show up. You can see how many people from outside the community show up, and this is good, right? This then makes it so that we do not have to separate marketing from community management. Community management is marketing. And that is essentially how most, I think, Balinese societies work, right? So they're like, nobody needs to do any marketing if you have community. If you have community, everybody will talk and they'll know about what's going on, and things will just find their way naturally to the right people. Okay, so no problem. Share this out with as many people as you want. We're not going to compromise the message. This is not a marketing event. This is not join Bukit Vista. This is talking about the things that our community is facing. And this is knowledge that hopefully will help everybody feel more connected and give them a sense of a direction and get them out of this mess as soon as possible. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Excellent.
So, my second question is regarding the bahasa. Do we need to use both Indonesian and
I think we're going to need to use Bahasa Indonesia. And this is the way I would see it. I would imagine that this can either be bilingual, or if you're ready, you might need to lead it, actually. So
I think you have to lead it, sir. I will observe first.
what I mean is this. I think what I did with Andre a few lessons ago was essentially I did the introduction. I welcomed everybody in. I said, we're going to have a meeting today. We're going to talk about these topics. And then I went to Andre, who is the specialist, to give the format and the presentation. I think we can do that here today. You already have a script. You have essentially what the inputs are. I will warm everybody up, and then you will continue, and you'll just go through the presentation, tell everybody what's going on, and then afterwards, I think we can create a Q&A. Now, the problem with Q&A, I've noticed, is that people do not they do not ask questions in the open forum because they don't know everybody yet, right? And they feel shy about like asking questions. So we need a different way. I'm wondering if we can just publish the video on YouTube and ask everybody to just comment on that, but that might be too complex. But we need to get a way to get, let's say, we have 5 days to figure out how to actually do an effective Q&A. It could be where people type in questions and we answer. It could be some sort of offline thing. It could be, I don't know, right? But that's generally the format. So an introduction by the CEO, and then the specialist will talk about what the key takeaways are. I can work with you on developing that script, right? And I think most of the attendees will probably be speaking Bahasa Indonesia. If they're not, then we'll make it bilingual, right? If we get a mix of foreigners and also local people, then we'll make it bilingual. So I'll do a portion and then you do a portion. It'll be like translation, right? So I'll speak some and then you'll speak some, and we'll balance that out. And I think that would be cool. That'll be like UN, right? So that will be a shared floor if we have a shared audience, if we have a combined audience. Okay?
Okay, sir. So it means that I should make the presentation in bahasa.
You should make a presentation, I think, yes, in Bahasa, and perhaps also, good question. Are we going to use BB Scrum to host the meeting?
How many of the capacity is that?
100. Don't worry, you're probably going to get.
Oh yeah. I think we can use it.
Truthfully, I would be shocked if 30 people showed up. Right? That would be a great attendance. If 30 people showed up, that would be fantastic. Most likely, people will find a reason not to come. That's just normal. I mean, the people who want to come will come. The people who like something else to do, they won't arrive. But it has capacity. I believe Google Meet now has a capacity of 100, unlimited time too as well. So that just got announced, I think, 2 days ago, because Google wants to steal business from Zoom right now. So they're offering Facebook too. They're offering these options, which could happen actually, because it's easier to use than Zoom.
Yeah. We need to install it.
Yeah. Don't need to install anything using.
Yeah, we
Hangouts.
don't need to do everything, right? So when we are using the Google Meet, because I mean, if they already have like Gmail, we don't need to install anything.
Exactly. I think actually you don't even need Gmail. I think you can just click in and you can start using it. I'm not sure, but okay. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Okay. That being said, okay, wait. Let me reply to Gani real quick. Check now. I just published it. Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at timing. So if you want people to come by Saturday, then by tomorrow morning, all the invitations need to go out, right? You need to raise awareness for it about 5 to 6 days before the event. And then you need to raise more awareness for it later on too. So let's go ahead and take a look at your first step. This is where I'll need to share the screen again and not just Trello, because otherwise it won't show correctly. Okay, so let's take a look at your first piece of content. You have an owner information card, which is good. This is fantastic. The only problem is this will probably need to set in conjunction with a link, right? You will definitely need a link on this, otherwise people won't know, well, where do I go, right? To find out more. So I believe that you are already thinking about using a Google or an Appear or whatever a Google Hangout, Google Meet to conduct this. But you might also want to put a bit.ly link or whatever to direct people to it. That's just in case people forward it to somebody else and then the text doesn't get forwarded, right? And then you lose out that. So your invitation should have actually a self-contained destination on it as well. Okay?
Do you mean the link of for example, we are using BV Scrum,
Yeah.
or the link of
Well, you can't write BB Scrum, right? Because then people will they don't have text expander. But like you can create a bit.ly to represent the thing, and you can just write bit.ly BV town hall, right? That's it. Right?
I understand. So
And then somebody who reads this invitation will know where to go in case it gets circulated around, which would be good. Okay, you can put yourself as a speaker too now. You can put yourself as a speaker to do that, and that's good for you. You get some branding now. Now people will know your skills, and they'll know your background, and they'll know something about who Lilis is too as well. And then you're going to have to make sure your internet is really good on that day, so that you don't you don't conk out. Right? Okay. I'll back you up in case my Bahasa is not terrible, but it is probably not as good as yours. But I think this is good. I think this idea is take each opportunity to build leadership credit and refine yourself. It's not hard, Lilis. It's much easier than if you had to do it in front of real people, right? Here you can just like start talking to that green dot on your computer, and it could be just me, or it could be a million people are watching it, and it doesn't feel any different. So that part makes webinars simpler in one particular dimension. Okay, so you got that. Then that looks good. I just would encourage you to put the meeting location on, and then your second part is your presentation, which is awesome. And this is where you can also put you can put this in Bahasa. You can kind of put this in English. I think most people can read English, if I'm not mistaken. Babe, is that right? Most of our owners can read English, right?
I think Balinese owner is not really there.
Really? They would have trouble reading it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I need to ask Tengi.
That's okay. It's okay if they can't read it. I understand. I can't read Bahasa. I'm living here, right? Do you think most people can read English or no? Was that no or yes?
They more like talking. Because read in English, like the word is different than the sound. There might people hear it where it is, but when
they read it. Okay. We might need to think about that. Good question now, Lilis. So do we put it in Bahasa or do we put it in English? Hey, this is funny, right? This is like one of those things that comes along. All right. There's two ways you can do this too. Also, Lilis, you can schedule two different meetings if you want. If it's too complex to like put everyone together, then you can schedule an English session and you can schedule a Bahasa Indonesia session. And what you can do in your invitation is you can ask which one they prefer to go to, right? Which language they prefer, and then you'll know. We might fail at this the first time, and that's okay. We plan to have more of these, and it could be awkward. It could be like we just have to like wing it. But depending upon where the majority of your audience is it safer to use Bahasa and then speak in English, or use English and speak in Bahasa? We might need to figure that out, right? Just to be ready, maybe just have it in both just beforehand, right? So that you can switch from one to the next one.
I'll make it both.
Okay, great, fantastic.
The question is for how many problems have you figured out, sir?
Oh, lots, Lilis, lots. I mean, you can put 5. You can put 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 or whatever.
Yeah, because, kind of. I cannot classify the problems that we are facing. So just
a lot. You can talk about staffing, right? You can talk about predictions on future travel. You can talk about what recovery period would look like. You can talk about COVID safe cleaning standards, right? You can talk about all the stuff that we've been doing, my dear. You can talk about long range discounts. You can talk about like the emphasis on booking pace. You can talk about what failure looks like and what success will look like. That can be a huge topic. What failure looks like is that your booking pace drops to 0 and it stays at 0 for a very long time. What success looks like is that your booking pace starts activating before everybody else. Why is that successful? Because that means you will be ranked faster than everybody else. And as soon as you get ranked, you'll get more bookings faster than everybody else. And then you can go into the topic of what does it take to get ranked? Well, you can be sure that future guests will value this, this, and this, right? And what will the future guests look like? They will probably look like, they're from this country, they're at this size, and they value these things, and this is what they want to do. And then you can when will they come back, right? And then you can talk about that in depth too as well. There's an infinite amount of material to this. There's like everything that we've talked about for the past month is stuff that we know, but nobody in the community really knows, and nobody really, they might be asking dumb questions right now, or they might not dumb questions. Sorry, this is getting recorded. They might be asking questions that are not relevant at the moment. They might be asking questions about they might, I don't know, maybe they're talking about should I? I don't know. Actually, this is a really relevant question that I've been hearing. Should I keep my staff? Right? Should I keep my staff, or should I close my place and let the staff go and rehire new people when things get better? That is a very salient question. And how can we help you answer that question? We can predict how long this will take, right? We can predict how long this will take for you. We can give you control over what things you need to do in order to shorten that recovery time. And that is essentially what we can offer. We can offer that information. And that information is very important, Lilis. That information means whether or not I will be bankrupt, whether or not jobs will be affected. That means like all kinds of stuff associated with that, right? So this information is incredible. We can easily go to 10, 15 topics easily if we want to go into it, right? We can talk about our predictions. We can talk about booking mechanics. We can talk about guests. We can talk about all this stuff, right?
So I think I have an idea because I'm not following all the chapters. I think I better ask the chapter leader to describe minimum two and then a problem and then the solution. So it's just like I get the appropriate material from each chapter.
Okay. That person is me right now for the moment, right? Because I'm sort of like,
Oh,
yeah,
is that for everyone, sir?
kind of. The reason why there are no chapter leads for the moment, Lilis, is because we are in there is nobody with any leadership experience in how to actually lead research and development. And some of the people from the previous, like let's say, okay, I'll give you two examples. Like let's say Tendi, Diba, Rafik, right? So all these chapter leads were chapter leads in the context of operations. So Diba knew how to lead in the context of creating content operations. Um, Rafik knew how to lead in the context of creating hospitality operations. Tendi knew how to lead in creating sort of community and also hospitality operations. But this new stuff is completely different, right? There are no operations anymore. So the leadership potential is a little bit different. So what we're doing this week with me, with everybody, is to develop more leadership potential in each person, and then we'll see who is actually the real leader after time. Um, it's three parts. One is discovery. How good is a person at discovering what is the biggest problem? What is the biggest opportunity? Part two, solutions. You figured out the biggest problem. You figured out the biggest opportunity. Can you actually arrive at a solution, a plan, a vision, a way to get there? If you can't, then you're kind of stuck, right? And part three is execution. Once you've discovered the problem, once you have a solution for it, can you actually execute and get your team to execute to arrive at that solution? So this is all new work for everybody, actually. So that's why I'm kind of coming into each chapter to help guide people through this process. Some people are really good at coming up with solutions, but maybe they're not addressing the right problems, right? That's happened in content. Good solutions, but maybe not on the correct opportunities and not on the correct problems. Some people are good at execution, but the idea of finding a problem when there's no context of new problems is completely lost, and that's HAR right now. Some people are sort of like, yeah, good at execution, maybe not good at solutions, but good at maybe discovering the problem. That's kind of like community. So they can see the problem, they're not really sure what the solution might be, but then they can execute really well too. So that's kind of like where it is. To give you a summary on essentially what's going on the HAR part, there's really nothing happening, right? HAR, remember, deals with the guest side. So HR, the best thing that they can offer right now is data and information to you. And you can see essentially what the type of inquiries are. You can see what type of things that people are looking for. And you can tell the rest of the community what people are searching for. And this is very helpful, right? That's an insight. What is it, Lilis, that people are still buying so that everyone knows what to do, right? That's step one for HAR. For community, I think it's more about like communication and keeping everybody involved and just hearing out what's going on. Um, and CSC, right? But CSC came from revenue management, right? I think CSC was originally developed here because we thought, oh yeah, after things get better, people will start seeking out the safest and cleanest listings to stay first. So that was an idea born from, I think, revenue management, and then it went into community for execution. So revenue management discovered the property, came up with an idea, and then it's being executed and through at community level, which is cool. Revenue management, you already know, and this is where all the juice is, Lilis. This is where all the things that we've talked about should go. Like, what is your long-term pricing strategy? What is your pricing strategy for the next month? What is your guest going to look like? What is the estimated time for recovery to happen? How should you budget? Great facts to know. Great facts to know. Should I retain my staff? Should I put them on unpaid leave? Should I rehire them later? This is an HR question, and I can get involved and answer that. So what that's a good question. What should my staff do right now that they're not busy? So that's an HR question. Extending our HR outside the company to actually the general community. And what they should do is they should train. they should practice. They should, they should do like what we're doing, develop skills, learn new things, so that when things get better, they're far more competent and able to serve. But who should they serve? Are they going to be expecting to serve Russians, Chinese, whatever? So once again, right, part of where we as a company need to share these facts and such. So that's pretty much it, Lilis. That's the summary. There's no knowledge right now, I believe, that you're not aware of. It's all in your head already. It's more just how do you lay this out? How do you create a buffet? Here is this station where you're going to learn about guests. Here is this station where you're going to learn about, I don't
Yeah.
know, pricing, and just bring people through that, and I think they'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I will get together with you on regular intervals along the way, so that you'll be ready. I think we're supposed to meet on Friday, right? Right before the Saturday. So we'll double check the presentation for completeness and fit, and then we will make sure that we have all the topics. I think if we say 3 topics and we give 5, people will feel valued, right? They'll be like, yeah, hey, look, you gave us 2 extra ones. So you can promise people 3 and over deliver with 5, and that's fine, right? And people will be like, that's cool. So yeah, this is fun. Send out the invitation for 3, and then deliver 5 great problems and 5 great solutions, and people will love you more. So bonus, double bonus. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, that's about the content presentation, and maybe back to this invitation.
Okay,
I think for our community, I mean, that already be our partner, we better send it by Bahasa. But for the outsider, we send it by English. What do you
sure,
think?
absolutely. That's a great idea. You should target your audience. If your audience natively speaks Bahasa Indonesia, then
Yeah.
definitely use Bahasa Indonesia. I think that would be more meaningful, and they would know that that is for them, right? And not for some sort of foreigner or something. So I think that's great. That's a great pivot. Great idea.
But if we want to help to session for Bahasa and English, what do you think about the time? I mean, I put it.
Just right now, don't worry about it, Lewis. It's okay. Just pretend it's going to happen. I think in Bahasa Indonesia for the moment. Oh, you mean time in terms of like
Time.
when we should
Yeah.
host it?
Yes.
Okay. You mean like time of day or like?
Time of we would like to help on May 9th, right? So the time is the time, yes, sir. Not the date. The time is 5 p.m.
Right.
So if we want to held 2 session in the same day, maybe we should arrange it.
Okay. For right now, Lewis, let's not worry about the 2 sessions part. We might not even get very many. Let's say this will be a high quality problem. Um, as you see your attendees start forming, you will have a better idea of how to do it. And don't worry, we have enough time. I have been known, Lilis, to be able to just kind of improvise on the moment to get it right? So even if it's like Thursday night or Friday night, and we realize that we have half and half, then we could still pivot the presentation to be bilingual, or we could pivot, let's say, if we notice that there's only 5 people on the English guest list, we could just say, hey, look, for you guys, we will host it after, or we'll host it like before, or whatever. Well, we can make those people the MVP, right? We can practice with the English speakers first, and before we go on to the major audience.
Yeah.
But I think you should probably put that language preference on the registration, so that we'll know what's going on. Okay.
Okay, sir. So
All right.
one more question.
Yes.
For the owner invitation, need I to make the registration form also?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, good question, right? Ideally, no. Ideally, no, because you already know what they probably can speak. I mean, they'll probably prefer Bahasa Indonesia, I think, right? So you'll know based on the context, right? And then all we need from them is maybe a simpler registration. Or actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, Lilis, I would say just give everybody a registration so they can tell us if they're coming or not.
Oh.
Right? So we have the right expectation for the size. And I think it can be just like 3 questions. What's your name? What's your email? And what's your language preference? And that gives us just enough information to, oh, okay, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much that. Later on, for your invitations to outside the community, you can definitely put like, do you have a property and what's the name of the property? That can be your 4th question, 4th and 5th question, or even 1 question. Do you have a property and what's the name of it? Right. If nothing, try to really reduce it. The more questions, the fewer people are going to come. The fewer people are going to want to do it. You get 1 interruption for the announcement, another interruption again for whatever, and another interruption to fill out a webinar survey. It's like, oh fuck, like too much. Ideally, just give me a call when the meeting begins, and I'll come. Right? That's like the easiest way to sort of invite people in. But yeah, on the invitation itself, I think what you can do is, well, don't worry. We'll do it. We'll help you with it, Lilis. Like right now, content people, community people will help you craft that voyage, that journey. So, okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Excellent. I think this is a really great project. This creates focus. It creates a type of mission, at least short term, that you can see. You'll see the results, and it will be great. Regardless, Lilis, it will be great. Even if it sucks, even if you mess up all your lines, even if I show up late, whatever, if the worst thing happens, it will still be great. Mainly because it happened. It's better than if it never happened at all. If it never happened at all, then it would be pathetic. But if it happened, then at least, we all got together and we were able to see each other and do this for the very first time. Okay? So most important thing is that it happens. All right, next one. Article photo competition for a branding opportunity.
So it's basically I already explained a bit short to you, but I will explain it now. So it's just like I want people to know more about Bukit Vista actually.
Great.
And one of our passive way is through YouTube, right? When we are sharing the video for our meeting and other video, but I think of another active approach to that because I think that we don't have much thing to do in operational now, so it's kind of opportunity to doing it now. And
Yes.
the idea is like to invite people to join the competition, whether it is photo and or article competition, and then where we can brand ourselves is through, for example, this is the example of people when they are